Hello and welcome to Illini Drive on WPGU 1071. Again, not on WPGU 1071. Studio still flooded. We're still here at the Urbana Public Television studio. Again, thanks to them for letting us hop in here and be able to talk about sports because we love doing the show so much that, even hell or high water, we're bringing it to you. And there's plenty to talk about. I mean, sports never stop, and so the show can't stop either.
Neither do we.
Exactly. We're going to open. We'll talk a little bit of Illini football because, I mean, this coming Saturday, they have a chance to put themselves within one win of bowl eligibility, a game they probably should win, Dad's weekend game, home against Rutgers, a 2-6 Rutgers team. That game starts at 2:30. Rutgers points per game in the Big Ten, 2.8. 2 touchdowns total in 5 games. This should be a win for the Illini, and this win would make them 500 in the Big Ten. Rutgers quarterback is coming off of a career game. It's their backup quarterback with their original quarterback getting hurt. Last game, he went 15 for 21, 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 21 carries, 118 yards, and 1 touchdown. Rutgers game, guys, usually a win for the Illini. Wasn't 2 years ago when they came into Memorial Stadium and beat a bad Illini team, but this team looks to be a little bit better. How are we feeling about the game?
I mean, 20.5 point favorites at home. This is a better Illinois team. They have the momentum after being Wisconsin and Purdue. So, yeah, I mean, I think they win this game. I think they have the momentum. I think they have the want, the desire, because now they are firmly in bowl search and within reach of a bowl game like we talked about on Monday. So I feel pretty good about this. I think everyone feels good about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel good about this. I just think that the momentum that they've built the last 2 games and them kind of understanding that maybe 2 weeks ago after that Michigan game, they thought that, maybe a bowl isn't really in the scope of this team. Now that they're kind of back into that mindset, and they have to play Rutgers and have to play Northwestern, and this is a must-win game for them. I think that they come out and their defense is really good against this Rutgers team who cannot score against the Big Ten. And I think that, some Illini players have big games. I know last year Reggie Corbin had 137 yards in that big 70-something yard TD. I think maybe Reggie Corbin is able to go off. If not Reggie Corbin, maybe Dre Brown. I think there's a lot of different ways that this Illini offense can score on this Rutgers defense, and I think it being Dad's weekend, it being, the momentum, the stadium should be pretty big. They're selling student tickets.
It's always a big stadium.
The presence in the stadium should be pretty big. They should win.
It's completely wrecked.
He really did them.
Alex, feeling good?
Yeah, man, I'm actually feeling good for once, man. It's a nice change of pace. It's nice not to feel pessimistic for once. And, this is a perfect matchup for them to, go on a 3-game win streak. I mean, Rutgers, they don't score a lot. They give up a lot. On the run game, too, they give up around 200 yards a game. So this is the perfect time for Reggie Corbin or Dre Brown to go off.
Or both.
Or both.
Even better.
And that brings up my next question. Is this going to be a Reggie Corbin game or a Dre Brown game? Because you brought up Reggie Corbin doing really well against the Rutgers last year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've had sort of the back and forth that it's not bad at all to have 2 good running backs. But how we feel? Reggie Corbin game, Dre Brown game? Do you have no idea because of how the season's gone so far? Or what's the overall consensus?
I say both. I think they both go over 90 yards. I think Illinois just gets up early and milks the clock with this one. There's no reason to go away from what works.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. Obviously, it was Dre Brown's game against Purdue, but I think both of them performed really well in different moments in that Wisconsin game. And I think this is a game where both of them are able to come out and just run all over this Rutgers offense or defense.
I'm actually just going to roll with Dre Brown. I like to go with the guy that has the hot hand. Or hot feet, I guess, because they run. Yeah, I'm going to roll with Jerry Brown. I love the way he's been playing this season. I think he just keeps it going against Rutgers.
Something that surprised me as I was looking through team statistics and individual statistics on Illinois is that Reggie Corbin hasn't caught a pass this year. So that's something that I'd like to see. I mean, we know Reggie Corbin's dynamic in space, and that's something that sort of plays to his favor over Dre Brown. I mean, Dre Brown's kind of in between the tackles guy, and Reggie Corbin's a guy that you get him one-on-one. He makes people miss, and he's just a stud I mean, both of the guys are. Yeah, I'm kind of with Jake here. I think that they use them both sort of interchangeably and don't really try to focus on anybody. I think maybe this is a game that you use to try to get Reggie Corbin going a little bit, just to get him back on that other stratosphere that people were talking about him potentially being at to start this year. But I mean, I guess we'll see. One thing I'm really watching for this game is Rutgers is a team that's very susceptible to turnovers through both their quarterbacks. They've thrown 11 interceptions, and as a team, they've fumbled 7 times, lost 4 of them. We know Illinois forces a lot of fumbles. They're one of the best in the country about recovering fumbles. So that's going to be something that I think, I mean, as we've seen, if Illinois wins the turnover battle, they primarily win the game. And Brandon Peters not having to throw the ball a lot in that Purdue game with the way the conditions were. And then the way that he threw the ball against Wisconsin, sparingly and maybe not as accurately as you would like, but all in all, I mean, pretty well distributed the ball as he should. But I think that's something that needs to happen this game. So I think that Brandon Peters really needs to sort of get back into sort of completing 12 to 15 passes again. I mean, he's spent a lot of games under 10 completed passes with more than 20 attempted. His completion percentage sits at 55.8 right now on the season, a little bit lower than Matt Robinson, his backup, who came in while he was hurt. I just think that you need to start showing that you can get that passing game going so that going forward in these games against Michigan State, Iowa, and Northwestern, I mean, even that Northwestern game, as much as it looks like Illinois should win that game as well, I mean, you need to be able to throw teams multiple looks because not every team is going to be Purdue and just not going to be able to stop the run. And as fun as it's going to be to probably run all over Rutgers, it's still essential that you make sure to take care of business and be able to pass the ball as well. Is there anything that you guys are keeping your eye on, any sort of X factor or sort of aspect of the game that has drawn your attention? I
mean, that's probably what I was going to ask you guys was just like, how much do we want to, if this is a game that's early blowout, how much do we want to see Brandon Peters be able to do that? Because, it is getting colder. The weather is more unpredictable. It's harder to catch balls, as we've seen in that Purdue game. And it's the Midwest. We don't know how the weather's going to be. And they have to play Rutgers here, Michigan State, Northwestern, Iowa, and those are all, places where the weather can just be so unpredictable. So I really do want to see Brandon Peters and these receivers, specifically Josh Imatorbhebhe, be able to work through the weather and maybe just get their rhythm down, because against Purdue, 6 pass attempts, there wasn't a lot of offense in the air. So,
I mean, I think with the passing game, what we want to see is, because Imatorbhebhe is like the big deep threat, the jump ball threat. But I think if you're going to be playing in those harsh weather conditions, you're going to have to you're going to have to make the short to mid passing game work more. So I think that's a good chance to see Daniel Barker and Casey Washington and Danny Navarro get some more work and start getting those reps in, because you need to see that. And if you become that one-dimensional team again, it's going to show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Illinois has struggled in the past against the Big Ten because they are that one-dimensional team. And Lovie Smith addressed it, saying that beginning of this year, we're not just a running team, we're a well-balanced team, and then went back on it later and said that we're a running team. Let's see this Illinois team be a well-balanced team, and then, I mean, the W's will follow. So going forward, just a little statistics for you guys. Rutgers average through this season scoring 15 points a game and allowing 36 points a game. Teams can pass on them. Teams can run on them. I mean, Rutgers is pretty even in that aspect. I guess Illinois sort of is too. But Rutgers average over 444 yards against them per game. Their defense really isn't great. Illinois, the way that this offense has been playing, even in those harsh conditions, the way the running attack was able to get after it. Illinois offense should find a way to score in this team. So let's do some score predictions. And I'm going to start with Jake. I want your Dad's Weekend Rutgers game final score is
42-17.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's keeping in line with my prediction of Dre Brown and Reggie Corbin both going over 90 yards. And I do think Brandon Peters throws more than 6 times. So I just think this is a game that Illinois drags out with the running game, and which will allow for some big runs from Dre Brown, Reggie Corbin, and, I mean, who knows, even a burner like Jakari Norwood who can just break one off from pure speed standpoint.
Yeah, guy's fast. Brendyn?
I think I'm going 35-13. I think that the Illini get out pretty quickly, but they let some scores go in the second half.
All right. Alex, I know you like to go last, so I'll wait on you. Yep. I'm gonna call 35-10 Illinois win. I mean, Rutgers really struggles to score. So I really don't see them getting more than a touchdown. I mean, I mean, I know Illinois' defense is probably not as on par with some of the defenses they played already, but even some weaker defenses that they played, they've really struggled to score against. And momentum game. I'm also calling that Reggie Corbin catches a pass because I'm still shocked to see. Yeah, I'm still shocked to see that he's yet to catch a pass. Alex.
See, I wanted to say 35. I'm gonna say 28 just cause.
Yeah.
28-10. I think once again it's a solid win. The offense doesn't get it going as much as we expect. I'm still a little weary about Brandon Peters. I don't think this is. I mean, even though this should be a game where he has a solid outing, but I don't know. I don't think he's there quite yet.
All right. So of
course, Alex doesn't have them covering.
Yeah. all of us believe though Illinois wins by multiple scores, and I think that's a pretty safe bet if you'll take it. But we're going to move on to a sport that we've yet to talk about really in depth at all, if at all, this year. And that's Illinois basketball, because even though it's just an exhibition game, they'll be in action on Friday against Lewis University. And then we'll do more coverage about their game against Nichols State on Tuesday of next week when we have our Monday show. But I want to talk about Illinois basketball because, for the excitement that was around Illinois football this year, it was doubled, if not more, by the Illinois basketball team. A lot of people calling for NCAA tournament berth. A lot of people talking about how good this Illinois team can be. And and they've got reason to believe it. They land Coffee Cockburn in the offseason. Huge in stature and in what it means for the program to get a true center, to let Georgie, one of the standouts from last year, move to his true position as a power forward. You've got years of experience under Trent Frazier's belt. You get Ayo DeSunmo back, which wasn't a for sure, but you've got him. You've got him making lists of people people thinking that they are players you need to keep your eye on. And then at the wing, you don't know if it's going to be Devontae Williams. You don't know if it's going to be Tevian Jones or Alan Griffin, or if somebody else steps up. It's just a team full of, there's a lot of anticipation around the team, and team full of talent, and more experience than we've had pretty much in the last 2 years. So Illinois looking to make the tournament for the first time since 2013. They're going to have it's not as tough as a Big Ten this year as it has been in previous years. There's 4 ranked teams right now. Michigan State is the number 1 overall team. Maryland, number 7, Ohio State, number 18, Purdue, number 23. So just overall, what are we looking forward to about the season? We're not trying to get too ahead of ourselves, but people call this a basketball school, and I don't know if that's necessarily warranted because of just everything. Illinois as sports as a whole doesn't really have a true, I think, nucleus, but this basketball team is going to bring out a lot of people this year. There's a lot of students that are talking about going to games, and I want to know what you guys are looking forward to most about this Illinois basketball team.
I think what I'm looking forward to most is the fact that Georgie will be able to move back to that 4. We've seen him in spots throughout the season, especially when they went on that stretch where they were like 6 out of 9 in January, where he was scoring a lot. I think he was Big Ten Freshman of the Week either once or twice, and he was just putting up big numbers against people that were always bigger than him. So if he gets the opportunity to, 1, he's obviously had that offseason to get better. 2, he'll be able to play against people that are more his size. 3, I think he's probably polished off more of his post game, and he's probably been able to work on his shooting more, which is something that he tried to stretch the floor a little bit, but was obviously a little unsuccessful last year. So I think it could be a very big year for him, and he might be able to step into that more solidified second role behind Ayo.
I'm looking for year 2 of Ayo, just to see a off season with Fletch, and we know what Fletch does to humans as far as bulking them up, and so I'm interested to see that. Ayo last year, the whole thing was that he wasn't great at finishing at the rim, and that was supposed to be his calling card. Instead, he was a better shooter last year, so it was kind of flipped. So I'm interested to see if he's more aggressive, if he gets to the line more, if he draws more fouls. And then kind of that's 1A, 1B being the dynamic of Georgie and Kofi Cockburn down low, because that's going to be very interesting because they're 2 very different players, but it's going to be very electric.
I'm actually curious to see Alan Griffin coming off the bench. I think that's a guy that could fill that role that you lost out of Aaron Jordan. I think that's a guy that, has a solid 3-point shot coming off the bench. I think him and Andres Feliz is a nice dynamic duo in that second unit. So, I don't know. I'm curious for him to get some more playing time and seeing what he does off the bench.
I think I'm looking forward to see how this team handles expectations because, Io had expectations, and then he started to live up to those expectations and sort of came down later in the year. Also, like that game that was in the United Center, everybody talked about Io coming home, and obviously there's been hype around him for a long time, but he's not the only one now. Georgie's got a fan base in his own. People love Georgie Bashanas-Philly. There's the new transfers that come in. I'm excited to see sort of how they do at a D1 level.
Kofi.
What's up?
Kofi.
And I'm excited to see a true center that we haven't. When's the last time that Illinois?
He's a big dude.
He has put 300 pounds?
Seeing him in person, he's a big dude.
Yeah. Myers Leonard, was he even 7 feet?
No.
Is it Tisdale? Was the last 7-footer?
No.
Nana Egwu? Is he 7 feet?
Oh, true 7-footer.
But even then,
wasn't Mav 7 foot or was he like 6'11"?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I don't think he was 7 foot.
I forgot about Maverick Morgan until just now.
He was like the last true center that Illinois had.
But even then, he wasn't even he wasn't a for sure starter every game in game out. Not that even that Kofi Cockburn
he's listed at 6'10". I hate to see it.
It's exciting just because you saw the way that Illinois could play small ball last year, and they ran, 3 guards, and then, 3 guards, then a guy that should be playing wing, and then a guy that should be playing 4 as the 4 and 5. So they've been used to that. They're a very well-conditioned team. I've been watching some of the breakdowns of Brad Underwood's defense and the way that they force teams to the way that you beat Illinois and the way that they come back at that and just that sort of thing. And I just love the way that Brad Underwood has this up tempo score early and often, sort of attitude, and then on defense, force turnovers, force pressure, make them play nervous the entire game. I remember, no matter what the sport is that any of us have played, that there's an aspect of that really when you're always playing under pressure, you can be winning games and come off the sidelines and just be shaking your head what are they doing? They're just shutting things down. And that's, I think, the way that Illinois plays teams, and that's why I think a lot of Big Ten head coaches last year talked about, watch these Illini. They're going to be very good. They're going to be, a team to watch going forward. And I believe that's true because I think they play the way that they play like that. The other thing I'm excited for, I don't know if excited or what I'm watching, is Illinois' half-court offense. Because when they don't score early and often, and when they don't get a bunch of fast breaks, sometimes you watch sort of same stagnant half-court schemes that don't all the time work. I could think of 2 or 3 plays that Illinois would run, and I'd be like, we've ran this 16 times. It hasn't worked yet, and that sort of thing. Who are you guys predicting for the starting lineup? Because I have my starting lineup in mind. But I don't know if everybody agrees with me. But I think that we're going to come to a consensus.
So, are you talking about opening lineup next week, or are you talking about in this exhibition?
I'm talking about the primary starting lineup. So it doesn't even have to be what comes out against Lewis or Nicholls State. Okay. It doesn't even have to be what comes out for the most of, this non-conference play. But
so the 5 that'll get the most minutes.
By the time that you are by the time that you're opening Big Ten regular season, the lineup that you are most consistently seeing and or the lineup that you're seeing night in, night out.
I think by the time you start Big Ten play, I think the most consistent lineup you see is Io, Trent.
Yeah, that small forward is hard.
Yeah, that's wrong.
The wing is where everyone's going to get held up.
Io, Trent, DeMonte, Georgie, Kofi.
Yeah. Okay.
I think because just Underwood likes DeMonte being that glue guy, that defensive holder that kind of brings everything together. There's the chance, and I'm sure someone's going to say, there's the chance that Kippers is starting at the 3 the most, but we all know about his inconsistencies, but I won't take anyone else's points.
Yeah, I'm completely with Jake on that. Sorry. I think that, I'm just going to say it, Brendyn Jones might be able to do that, but this is his second time, being suspended in 2 years. Mm-hmm. We don't know how that's going to work out in the next few weeks. So, if you asked me after the season last year, I would have said I would have liked to see Brendyn Jones make that jump and be able to start. But obviously, off-the-court issues might take him out of that starting lineup. So I'm with Jake.
I'm with you guys, except with that small forward position. I'm gonna roll with Kip.
All right.
Just because, once again, I don't really see Tevian meshing well with that group to start. I mean, Alan Griffin maybe, but once again, I think he's more comfortable in that two-guard spot coming off the bench. As well with Benjamin Bosman's Verdonk. Yeah, he's freshman. I don't think you just throw him right there with the starting lineup unless he's really good. I think Kip, as inconsistent as he has been in the past, he's a senior, he's a vet, he's been with the team. So, I think
for Kipper being able to play that 3 is going to be helpful too, so he doesn't have to be forced to play power forward anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That might be helpful.
I'm surprised I'm the only guy calling Alan Griffin at 3. Because I think Underwood really likes Alan Griffin. I think that Alan Griffin showed us progress as last year progressed. So I'm doing, Io, Trent, Alan.
The bench.
I get that, but you also know that I'm kind of not anti, but I've been off of DeMonte Williams for a while, but I saw growth out of Alan Griffin. I also heard the team talking about it, and they're like, man, this kid's a sniper. Like he's so good from 3, and if you can have Trent and Alan Griffin playing off of Io's ability to drive and get to the bucket, and as well as Kofi Cockburn, I keep saying that, getting you presence inside. I think those shooters make it really scary, and I think that it makes that starting lineup really, really impressive. I'm curious to see the way that DeMonte Williams, Andres Feliz, Kipper Nichols.
I'm surprised no one said
all
Andres
used.
at the 3, getting a lot of time.
He's 6'2".
We saw it a lot though.
I know,
we saw it a lot.
But I think that he's the off the bench scoring.
Yeah, I think he's the off the bench X factor. You throw him in and he plays defensively really well. He can really get to the line. He had that game where how many free throws did he shoot?
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
And felt like 20.
Yeah, something like close to 20, if not 20. But he's that guy you need off the bench that, when your starters aren't contributing, especially I think he'll be super helpful in this, non-conference stretch, which the Illini struggled through last year. When your starters aren't contributing, you throw him in and he's going to get you good defense. He's going to get the rest of the bench guys going. And I think he's going to get to the line, and I think he'll be super good to watch.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm the only one saying Alan Griffin, honestly. Who's your guys' Illinois basketball X factor?
Andres Feliz.
Okay. So I'll start. You guys are thinking about it. I'm saying DeMonte Williams just because we talked about it. He was a 25+ point per game scorer in high school. He has that scoring ability, but he's never been able to show that. I know he checks all the boxes and he's a good defender and he's a Brad Underwood type guy that really just hustles and gives you everything he can. But I got to see some more scoring out of DeMonte Williams, and I think that he's going to deserve to keep getting playing time. And that's just me. So I think if DeMonte starts scoring, that second unit, or if he's used as in the first unit, because then you put scores in the second unit, it just makes Illinois a deeper and more a team that competes all the time on the court and never has anybody on the court that sort of gives you pause or lineups on the court that that you worry about. Who's your guys' X factor though? And maybe you agree with me. Maybe you think
I'll
something
go
else.
West because I don't think anybody else will have mine.
Okay. Well, when I think of X factor, I just think of somebody who you might not expect to do the things he does every game, but when you need it the most, they're there, and they're able to give the team the push. And I just think that's Andres Feliz. He's older. He knows everybody likes him. He's a good presence on the court. And I think he's a super high energy guy that can always put the Illini through, tough stretches, whether that be offense or defense.
I'll roll with Kip in the sense because for so long we've wanted this guy to be so consistent, and I think for him to come of age and just fill that 3 spot very well. I think you look at that starting lineup up and down, and it's deep. It's perfect. I don't want to say perfect, but it's a really good starting lineup. Mm-hmm. But that's if he plays consistently.
And we've seen flashes of Kipper that make you believe this guy is a D1 athlete, a starter, if not a guy that's.
And he plays like that every night with a lineup of Trent, Io, Kofi, and Georgie.
Yeah, that's a big team. That's a big team. It's the biggest
athletic team.
Yeah, very athletic team. Jake, your surprise X factor.
Yeah, mine's going to be Benjamin Bosman's Verdonk, just because I think the Tevian suspension opens up the door for him, and everyone's been saying how he's really athletic and how he can do a lot. They said at the Italy trip that he was just torching people, so I think that if Kipper comes out of the gate and struggles and you're looking for some athleticism, some size at the 3, I think Benjamin can really fill that void. I think he can really step up. And then we don't know how long Tevion's going to be out. I mean, it was a lengthy suspension last time, so I imagine it'll be even longer this time. And if Benjamin plays well, I mean, he sticks because then it's Kip and then him and then the potentially even jump Kip.
Yeah, Illinois, very international team. You talked about Bosemans Verdonk coming from Belgium. Kofi Cockburn comes from Kingston, Jamaica. Georgie Bishanisvili from Georgia, the country, not the state. And Andres Feliz from Dominican Republic. So one of the more international teams, kind of pretty cool to see. Go out and buy tickets to Lewis on Friday. If you listen to this, you're curious about how the team's going to look. You want to see a team just getting beat. Just watching Illinois go out and get theirs. I mean, honestly,
who they play last year? Wesleyan.
I think that was Expedition. That was Exhibition.
I went to that game with my dad and my brothers, and they were just the Exhibition game. If you really just want to see the Illinois team just
go out and run. You ever want to see the Harlem Globetrotters?
Right, exactly.
First test that Illinois is going to face November 10th at number 21 Arizona. Excited for that game. We'll talk more about that game when we get there because we're getting ahead of ourselves right now. So we're going to switch it up right now. Game 7. World Series. Ooh. I know Jake's excited. Jake lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes. Not this week because Smoothie Cleanse, but he usually eats, sleeps, everything he does is for the love of the game of baseball. We got a great game last night, so I want everyone's reactions from the game last night. Nationals end up winning 7-2. No home team has won a game in the World Series so far. 3-3 going to tonight's game. Just everyone. Let's get last game's takes out because it was a fun game of baseball.
I think the thing that is most surprising to me is that no home team has won, which is
awesome.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
But it's like the most baseball thing to happen. Like if that was ever gonna happen, it would be in baseball. It's so bizarre.
But I think that just makes it so interesting for tonight is that if Houston wants to win, they have to win at home. I think when Juan Soto hit that home run, that was crazy. I think Alex tweeted about it.
Ball don't lie?
Yeah.
Like the rest of Twitter?
Yeah. Crazy.
No, that wasn't the home run. That was
when he
that was
I don't know the situation.
The home run with the bat flip, that wasn't a bat flip, but it was a bat
carry?
handoff.
Right.
Yes,
that's what I'm talking about?
That's what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
the retaliatory bat carry.
It was
like the pitch for. Oh no, I think I remember the tweet. I was like, it was after the first Justin Verlander pitch. He was just nodding his head.
Yeah.
I was like, bet.
Yeah.
He's like, bet, throw that pitch again and watch what's gonna happen. And he hit that ball 111 miles an hour off the bat, 411 feet.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
just dumb.
That was so cool.
Juan Soto is. I mean, we've seen it through this whole playoffs.
That's my dude.
He's a
man.
stud.
It's awesome to see him perform on the national level. Like if you've been watching Nationals, if you've been following the Nationals, you know how fun Juan Soto is. And sometimes you get those really fun players that get blinded by the lights. Not Juan Soto. He's stepping up. I mean, he's in this postseason, he's hitting 304, 407, 783. Oh no, that's just in the World Series.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think he's slugging 783 over the whole
Yeah, I was like,
postseason,
That's just with the World Series.
He's been awesome. The quote after that when they asked why'd you carry your bat down first base line, he said, well, Bregman did it and it looked cool, so I wanted to do it. Like, that's just so funny because that's who he is. Like, it wasn't retaliation. It wasn't, oh, you did this, so I feel disrespected because that was a cool move and I wanted to do it. Like, that's
you see
awesome.
a good player, you want to emulate him.
Yeah,
That's
And
awesome.
that's a guy who's, but him and Bregman, like that's a guy in Bregman who's 25 and a superstar, and Soto who's 21. I'm 22, and Soto's 21 and he's a superstar, and like having two of these young guys on the biggest stage, like just having fun with it is really awesome, and it's great for the game, and I love it. Don't love Bregman apologizing after, but that's fine.
That's Bregman's.
He didn't need to apologize.
Yeah,
that's Bregman just trying to be class act. Seventh inning yesterday was wild. Seventh inning yesterday included a very controversial call, which I want to get into right now because there were plenty of people had their opinions about it, and screw it, we have our opinions about it. He's running on the baseline. He is doing everything completely correct. You do not have to be technically outside the field of play the way that Kate Upton thinks you need to be or other people think that you need to be. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. The pitch or the throw on the infield single is a little bit to the left. The first baseman has to reach there, but you have to respect the fact that there's a person running 15 plus, 17 plus miles per hour directly at where you put your glove. It happens. You know, they call it interference. It's not interference. They review it. It takes them forever to review it. And much like pass interference call in the NFL right now, they don't overturn it because they stick with what they call on the field, only to be responded with a moonshot, an absolute bomb from Rendon. And that was when it got really fun, was because, I mean, that was the moment of like, okay, like you want to give this game to the Astros, like we're not going to let you. Washington Nationals are I said it after game 2. They're a team of destiny. They've put everything into it, and they just have the storylines that drive this World Series. And yeah, it was crazy.
So you're all in on the team of destiny thing.
I tweeted it. I tweeted it after game 2 because you were watching them dismantle the best team in baseball in their home stadium for the second straight game.
Your thing is on.
Oh, my thing is on. I was looking around like I think this is.
I was just like, is that me? I was like, that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is I call it Team of Destiny or whatever, but also like it's the Astros at home in Game 7. Who knows? But like this is one of those things where it's like everything in life is pointing at the Nationals winning this World Series because the away team wins all the time, and the Nationals are one of those came from this losing record through the first 40-some games or whatever it is, and now they're look at them now, that it feels like one of those games that it's just going to be like, oh, just kidding, like the Astros. Like, I mean, but also not. I don't know.
The Astros are just so good, though, and I love that. I love that tonight you have just two absolute crazy people on the mound with Scherzer and Greinke, just two weirdos. Like, it's awesome. I love it. Scherzer's going to come out. Probably first pitch is going to be like 101 is what I'm expecting.
How loud's the yell? How loud's the yell with the pitch?
Oh, they're going to hear it outside the stadium, and the stadium roof is going to be closed, and they'll hear it. But the thing that makes me think that the Astros win this game is, Garrett Cole's coming out of that pen at some point, whether it's the 6th, whether it's the 7th, and he's closing it out no matter when he comes in. Garrett Cole is coming in there, so the Nationals better get an early lead, because if the Astros get into the 6th, let alone the 7th with a lead, that man is coming out of that pen. That man who just diced you up, he's coming out there, and he's going to try and shut the door on you, a la Madison Bumgarner.
That's one thing that really benefits the Astros here. That, we talked about who's got the better pitching in this whole thing. It was like a storyline how good the pitching was. The difference between the Astros and the Nationals in it was that the Nationals was 2 deep, and the Astros is 3 deep. So it's just like you said, the Nationals can't trot Strasburg out. Strasburg said after the game, I gave it all I had. I'm pretty tired. I mean, that's coming from a guy that just gave you 8 and almost a complete game. He gave you 8 and a third.
I wish he had finished it.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. It would have been awesome to see him finish it. But a guy that gives you 8 and a third, I really doubt that somebody that just threw 104 pitches yesterday comes out and does it like it's the 60s all over again, because it's just not. It's just not.
Especially a guy who's already had Tommy John and has had injury issues.
Who's been shut down for for the exact reason to give you the performance that you see last night. So yeah, that's where the Astros really have a benefit going in.
But the thing is, it's not like the Nationals have a slot. Like, Patrick Corbin's still really good.
Of course.
The Nationals can trot out Corbin out there, and granted, you're going to have to put Max Scherzer in handcuffs and drag him out before you take him out of that game. But Corbin's still pretty good. The only thing is that Corbin's a lefty, and the Astros have Springer and Correa. No, Correa's a lefty, right?
No, Correa's righty.
So they have Springer, Correa, Bregman, all right-handed hitters. And those guys are pretty good. If you don't believe me,
and evenly spaced throughout their lineup. That it's not like you can throw him out there and go through
Gurriel's
half of the lineup.
I think Alvarez is left-handed.
Alvarez is lefty. Gurriel's switcher, I think.
He is a switch. Oh, I forgot about that.
Wow.
No.
Regardless, we've been spoiled with World Series, man. The amount of Game 7s that we've gotten in
5 of the last 9.
5 of the last 9. That is unprecedented, and so many of them have led to phenomenal Game 7s. Bias, obviously the Cubs know about their Game 7, and that's, would you agree that's one of the better Game 7s?
Which one?
The Cubs 2016 Game 7. Yeah. Just the fact it goes extras, the rain delay, the storylines, yada, yada.
Never mind, Gurriel's a right-handed batter. So still
yeah.
Still matches up.
So the Astros are primarily right-handed.
Yes.
So that's where, the Patrick Corbin matchup, as good as he is, and, I'm one of those.
Alvarez and Reddick are the only two then.
I'm one of those people that always kind of is like, screw the handedness matchup, like just throw out your best pitchers. So for me, there's two different types of people. That's not really what separates, if you're like a baseball guy, if you're an old school or a new school guy or whatever. But I don't know. I think that's one of those things that I think Patrick Corbin definitely pitches tonight. I think he definitely he has to because it's game seven
of the World Series.
Yeah, all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but
Scherzer just walked out for his warm-ups to the pen.
Man, like the way they talked about those neck spasms. I mean, I get it. It's Max Scherzer. Like he could get hit by a bus and still pitch.
He can break his nose and still pitch.
Right, but like, I don't know. That still kind of bugs me. I'm just kind of like that type of guy where, Game 5 he was supposed to pitch, and if that bothered him enough to not pitch.
I mean, he was up and throwing a lot last night, so I think if that went okay and he felt all right, then I think he should be okay. Granted, now this is game situation, he's going max effort, but I mean, we'll see. I don't know, how often can you do a cortisone shot? Because I know he already got one.
You only do like 2 or 3 a year.
A year? Oh boy, okay, never mind.
I think
could take 2
that's to the best of my knowledge. So
Just saves his one for like 6 months from now.
Yeah,
That's 2 right in a row.
but I mean, like
No,
it
yeah,
pretty
I
much
know.
numbs up your whole area for like a week. So I mean, it's definitely not, it's not something that you should be doing
Yeah,
right now.
Shouldn't
of
get
course.
cortisone injections more often than every 6 weeks. All right, never mind.
Oh, so never mind that. Yeah, wait, that's like
Yeah, so I was gonna say I don't.
That's like
I
5
was
times a year?
wondering.
Right.
Yeah, that's
said-
at 4. That's at 3.
Hold on, quick math. You keep talking.
It said 4 on
Right.
the Google, so I mean,
4 to 6 weeks?
It said 3 or 4 times. It said do it
3 or 4 times a year?
No,
Or
no
three-
sooner than every 6 weeks.
No sooner
So that's
than-
the soonest you can do it.
But if
Six
let's,
weeks.
but let's say you
assume-
let's say you do it every 7 weeks, then you can do it 4 times a year.
and that's why the thing said 3 or 4.
Wait, no, more than that. Never mind. I'm doing too much out loud math.
Nathan DeHaan, MD over here. No, I still have the Astros. Max is gonna. I mean, I fully expect Max throws 150 pitches in this game.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna go out once the adrenaline hits him too. Like
Astros are just too deep, man. And then once they throw in Garrett Cole.
If you do it every 7 weeks, you could do it 7 times a year.
Okay. Do you want to go get a cortisone shot right now?
No,
Just to try it out?
actually, yeah.
Just to try it out?
I'd love to know what a cortisone
yeah,
shot
what does
is
it
like.
do? What is that even supposed to do?
that
Also, Max Scherzer's just
numbs you up,
rocking
bro.
to himself on the bench, just like sitting alone, rocking back and forth.
I think Max Scherzer.
Because he's a crazy person. bro.
Max Scherzer's like Max Scherzer's that one kid that you played sports with in high school that you were like, calm down, man. Like, it's the second game of the season.
Yeah.
We're playing some bum team. Like, we'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it.
takes it
He's
way
sitting
too
there,
serious.
like, headphones on, like, just like.
Max Scherzer's the guy who made it and will be in. Max Scherzer's going to be on the bench for the Hall of Fame, just being like, looking around, like,
Oh,
giving
tense.
yeah.
His bust is going to be just like him, just like looking pissed. Like,
It's going to be just the wide, I think. It's going to be like, they definitely.
they color each eye.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Color brown and blue eye in.
that'd be hilarious.
Last note I want to make on World Series. Justin Verlander's 0-6 in the World Series.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're a wins isn't a pitching stat guy, are you not?
I mean, it's clearly a stat. It's recorded every time a pitcher starts.
but like it's not one of those like determining factors. You stand on that.
Yes.
So where you stand on this whole Justin Verlander can't really get the job done in the World Series.
I will
thing.
tell you that 4 out of those 6 times Justin Verlander hasn't gotten more than 2 runs of support.
Okay.
I don't know, man. That's why I had the Nationals winning Game 6 because I was like, Justin Verlander sucks in the World Series. So.
Justin Verlander's postseason ERA is like 3.1.
Postseason, we talking World Series.
His World Series ERA
World
is like
Series.
above 5.
No, it isn't.
Is it not? I could have sworn it was. I thought it was like 501.
After last night, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. He hasn't been winning, man. He hasn't been winning.
Come on, baseball reference. Go fast.
Justin, I mean, but does anybody make a big deal out of 0-6? Because I'm like it's giving me pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not, I guess, worried. I'm just kind of like that's kind of odd. It kind of throws you off a little bit, and especially the caliber and type of pitcher that he is. You know, specifically in the biggest series you could ever play in your 0-6.
Right.
I mean, granted, in some of those games and some of those situations that Jake alluded to where he didn't get run support, but I mean, at the end of the day, dude, like,
His 2019 postseason ERA is 4.33. It's not awful,
right.
but it's also not like
right. And in the World Series where you most absolutely have to win and you're not winning,
yeah.
I mean, at that point.
Okay, I'd also like to say in the World Series in 2012, Justin Verlander had an 11.25 in the World Series. So You have that anomaly.
ERA
there.
is 11.25.
Yes. That
Okay.
spikes that because he gave up, over 4 innings, he gave up 5 runs.
Sounds
that
like,
time, so.
yeah, sounds like somebody that isn't great in the World Series.
Yeah, you're right. Cancel his Hall of Fame votes. Guy stinks.
I mean, it's not going to keep him out of the Hall of Fame, but it's going to be one of those things that somebody's going to do poor. Somebody's going to have like a poor World Series on like on a fringe Hall of Fame career, and they're going to point at Justin Verlander and go, "Well, this guy never won the World Series, and he's in the Hall of Fame."
But he did win the World Series. He already has 1 ring.
But
Has
but I'm
another
talking
one.
to him
Yeah,
himself.
Had never won a game in the World Series.
Yes,
Again,
as a stat.
the
I mean, but-
opportunities were there, and didn't he close one of the games for the Astros in 2017? I'm almost positive.
You tell me. You're our wealth of
I-
That's
information.
not a win, though. That's not a win.
Right,
We're
but
talking
that's
about
still
win
like
Yeah, but he's
he still got the job done and closed out.
in one game.
Yes, but still.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I'm just playing devil's advocate, man. It's fun, man. I love how Dick gets flustered.
You do this to me. You guys just. It's okay. Everything is just,
All right, we're calling our shots here because that's the kind of show that we are. Who wins tonight?
Astros.
Nationals.
Astros.
Astros.
It's because I said it last night. Last night what I said on the show was Nationals are going to win Game 6. It's going to go to Game 7, but the Nationals. The Astros are too deep. Garrett Cole's just going to come in at whatever point he decides he wants to come in, or they need to bring him in, and Astros win.
I think Greinke gets the job done tonight. I think because he hasn't been great this postseason, and he's been kind of like, and even once he got to Houston, he wasn't as good as he was in Arizona. But I think that guy he's someone who had a sub-2 ERA 2 years ago, and he was amazing, and he's been fantastic all year. I just think that we see a really solid Zach Greinke tonight who gets you into the 7th inning before you have to bring in Garrett Cole
I feel that.
and close it out.
But if the Astros don't win, man, dude, that's such a complete stacked team, and you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they win, though, they're one of the greatest teams ever, though.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, well,
I mean, yeah. But also in baseball, I feel like it's pulling straws to talk about greatest teams ever, because
it's
how dominant are you in the postseason compared to how you are in the regular season? And yeah, the pitching rotation is crazy, as well as the relievers that they added as on top of everything else. The lineup as a whole, but then you can look back at that Yankees, how many different Yankees teams would you put up there? And when do you stop counting the Yankees team from so far ago because Babe Ruth wouldn't be Babe Ruth if he was playing today, and
That's true.
all those things.
Garrett Cole would eat Babe Ruth alive.
yeah.
All right.
Come on.
He still hit the ball. I
don't think he would touch the ball.
He's okay, but
He would touch
I
the
alluded
ball.
to this point, but I also think that you got to give credit to guys that can hit balls.
He would touch the ball. It's just not as well.
Yeah,
You think
he
Babe
wouldn't be Babe Ruth.
You
But
think Babe Ruth would even touch a knuckle curveball?
I think Babe Ruth is still Babe Ruth.
He could get a foul tip.
I think this isn't the point. I think the point is, are the
You can get a
Astros one of the
foul
greatest
too.
teams of all time? I
Yes.
mean, I'd be like,
I think
They're up there.
Yeah, they are definitely up there. But I think at the end of the day, when we look back a couple years from now, if they do win this series, we're gonna be like, hey, the Astros team was really good, but
people are going to remember how much they struggled in the World Series.
It's a World Series. It's supposed to. You're like, it's the best.
But you're calling it the best team of all time. What about that Boston team that took care of World Series easily last year?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best teams.
So are you going to call every 100-plus win team that wins the
No.
World Series
That
one of the
team
best teams of all time?
dominant. How could you not what?
I'm just saying that you
can.
can say this about almost every World Series winner if you say that they're a 100-plus win team, and then you look back at their team and they're good.
Just because a team struggles, like this Astros team, I'm not saying just the postseason. I'm saying wire to wire.
Right.
As a whole.
Right.
Which I think makes last year's Boston team also one of the all-time great teams because wire to wire, they were completely dominant. Yes, the Astros hit a little bit of a skid, but baseball's never been better than it is right now, and the talent level's never been higher. So I'm not going to knock them for struggling and being taken to
and you expect a
a
good
game
team
of
like that when they
7.
hit a skid to pull through. Is I think what he's trying to say.
I
Sure.
know what you're saying, but the fact that you're calling the last 2 World Series winners one of the greatest teams of all time, I think shows that you can do this for a lot of teams.
I wouldn't say that about any other team from this decade.
Shade.
Okay, that's why I didn't say just 2016. I meant any other team from this decade. I wouldn't even consider the 2017 Astros one of the greatest of all time. I think this year's Astros and last year's Red Sox are the only two who meet that criteria or make that category.
I'm just pointing out that if we keep getting 100+ win teams that win the World Series, then it's going to be easy to look back on that team and be like, man, they were really good, because every team is going to be really good. And yeah, I also wouldn't say that about like the Royals,
Right.
They won the World
Giants.
Series, like that was nice.
The 13 Red Sox, the 12 Tigers. No.
Yeah.
But the
that's
12
what I'm
Tigers
saying.
did. But okay.
The 12 Tigers though swept the World Series.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. The 2012 Tigers
That was
never.
the Giants.
Yeah,
Hold
that
on.
was the Giants.
Oh, I've got my colors wrong.
They didn't win.
That's one of the biggest like conundrums in history.
I
How
walked
the
into
early
school
2000s
so happy the day after because my math teacher was a Tigers fan, and I just rubbed it in his face. On top of that, too, he was my math teacher, and I just could not stand
It's
math.
ridiculous how
I
those
hate math.
early 20
I hate math.
those
It's
early
overrated.
2010 Tigers teams never won anything, and it's bananas. Because
Was
like
Scherzer on that team?
Scherzer, Porcello, Verlander,
Yeah, we've done this before.
Prince Fielder. Yeah, we've done this before.
God.
Go back.
A lot of teams.
Ian Kinsler, Torrey Hunter when he was still good.
Who's okay?
Alex Avila, Victor Martinez.
Oh,
So who's the last? Who's the
Eugenio
last?
Suarez.
Okay.
Rid of him.
yeah.
So potentially this year's Astros team and last year's Red Sox team. Who's the last team amongst World Series winners that you would think that you'd put up there
And an all-time great.
and an all-time great? That quick little Phillies dynasty.
No,
Pretty good teams.
probably
We're going just from 2000 up.
I mean, I'm just saying, just like going straight backwards
from 2019.
from yeah.
I mean, I would say you probably don't get there until you get to one of these three Yankees teams from 98 to 2000. I just pulled a beard. That's weird. Felt weird.
2009 Yankees are pretty good.
No, just stop.
I mean, I just think that was
No.
because, and the reason I say this about the Astros, because I read a really good piece by Jason Stark from The Athletic, and he made the point that this Astros team is one of the all-time greats, and was throwing numbers out there that I don't remember off the top of my head because I was reading as I was falling asleep. But like, this is statistically rates up there with like those early 1940s Yankees teams,
Yeah.
and so does last year's Red Sox.
Yeah. Well, first they need to win.
True.
If they don't, then
And
this
if-
conversation
and
is
if they
just out the window. This is-
dynasty over.
Well, if they don't, not one of the greatest teams of all time.
I mean, they probably still are, statistically speaking.
But like,
They're one of the greatest
legacy
teams
wi-
to
but
to
legacy
not win,
wise,
to
no.
not
Yeah.
win.
I think if they lose, they're the best team to ever not win the World Series.
Fair.
All right,
But-
I like that.
all right.
I like that.
We found
Best losers.
we found middle ground. If Brendyn's prediction comes true, he'll come in, laugh at us on Monday, and say
Yeah.
then agree with my
I
point.
mean,
that
I
they're
want the
best team.
Nationals to win. I just
The Nationals would be a great story if they win.
Screw it. I'm on the Nationals. I'm
go.
flip flopping.
Let's go.
I'm on the Nationals. Natitude all night.
Alex.
I'm tempted to flip flop, man.
Yeah.
But no, because I said it last night, and it's like
Yeah,
I gotta
that's
stick to
my
gun.
thing. Like I've been sticking with it. Like I said it
Yeah.
on Warner show this morning too. So
Like I said it earlier in the year,
can't
like
flip-flop
Astros are
between
gonna
shows.
win. Like no, I'm in it.
I'm riding Nationals. Team of Destiny. We're gonna wrap up with a Chicago area story.
Smattering.
It's the Chicago Public Schools. The teachers have been on strike for a while. They haven't had school since the teachers have been on strike. And 19 Chicago Public Schools qualified for the postseason in football this year, not able to do so if they don't have the games, if they don't have the practices. Today, it was announced that they are holding their first practice, and that makes them eligible for their games on Saturday, because all these postseason games are on Saturday, not Friday, as usual for high school football. So practicing today means that they get 3 straight practices in. It means they have enough practices to be eligible to play on Saturday. All of that goes out the window if the teachers are not still in school, though, on Friday, because then those schools are still striking. They're still just not able to play those games, and then the non-CPS teams would advance. I don't even know what would happen for the CPS teams that were scheduled to play each other. I guess the team that would be slated to play them afterwards would then get a bye and then following week.
Question.
I don't
Or
know.
any team.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure how that bracket
It'd be
works.
rare, but like
It's
it's
definitely
happened before.
Yeah.
When I
Because
was a
the playoffs was
sophomore,
that,
we were in
like-
the playoffs and we played Simeon the first round. We
So
lost.
I wanted to reference this.
Simeon, man.
So it's got to be just.
Simeon.
So it's got to be the
Nobody
football
likes
playoffs, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
So Brendyn, I was going to reference you because we were talking about this on the ride here.
Yeah.
So to just talk about like what you remember from CPS teachers strike back when you were in 7th
Right.
grade and just the surrounding,
Dang, you were in 7th grade the last time?
Yeah, I was.
feel
I
old.
remember.
you would've been 8th
So
grade?
this
No,
season,
we would have been
Oh, yeah,
freshmen.
freshman.
I was a
That's true.
freshman.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
This-
forget the years.
this strike is like it's deep. They've been fighting for the same issues. It's raise of pay. It's like more protections under their contracts, smaller class sizes, more time to like prepare for
Oh boy.
for classes and what's up, Jake?
So right now, Blue Island, which is 32, would play Mount Carmel. Oh wait, Mount Carmel's private. Never mind.
Yeah, they're private.
I don't know why I thought Mount
Continue.
Carmel wasn't.
But
My bad.
so that's what they're striking for. But they've been striking for. That's been a issue of concern for them for almost the last 10 years now.
So many years.
So today was the 10th day of strike, I believe. Personally, if I had to guess, it's not going to be over by Friday. But this is a good extension because a lot of kids yesterday when they canceled school for today, a lot of these kids who play football, my brother included, they were really sad. It's their senior year. Most of the seniors too. They're really sad. It's their senior year. They get one last chance to compete and show how good they are, and one last chance is a memory of high school football. And anybody that's played high school sports, sometimes when that's the highest you go, like that's what you cherish the most and remember the most. So they get these extra 2 days. Hopefully the situation can be resolved by then. But if I had to guess, it's not going to be, and unfortunately, I don't think these teams will be able to play.
Naz was in 2 seed, by the way.
Sucks, man. Okay,
So,
well,
I
we
mean,
can go to Naz. Man.
Are you CPS too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the only non-CPS student here, or at least alumni of CPS. So I'm wanting just hear from you guys, just sort of like what you remember and like what your thoughts are about like the strike and just like.
I'm not CPS. Yeah.
You're not CPS?
No.
Okay, because
Naz was private.
Private. So 2 CPS.
Yeah.
So Alex, I mean, just like what you remember from like high school and like high school sports and just like this like strike as a whole and like maybe what you're even hearing from home because I don't know if you have anybody talking about it or know anything. That's going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, my stepmom, she's a CPS teacher. I mean, she's striking, so it's like I'm all for her for what she believes in, what she's protesting for. And I mean, like when the strike happened at the time when I was a freshman, I mean, granted it was I guess a better situation because it got resolved more quickly. It only lasted a week. It didn't affect sports in any way. But I mean, yeah, like I could imagine, if it were to occur while I was playing baseball and all that, like, it would suck. That was something to keep my mind off of school if I was stressed or anything like that. That was my way to get away from things. And, not to undermine, the strike, at all by any means. But, it's like that's something that's out of the kids' control. And for something that, they don't touch in any way, for it to affect them that much, it sucks. And there's nothing they can do about it. I think that's sort of the unfortunate and worst part about it is, they're just there. They're trying to go to school. They want to play sports. Like Brendyn said, for a good chunk of them, this is as high as they go. And, for a lot of those seniors, they want to go out with a bang. And, for them to not get that chance, it sucks.
Yeah, I'm with Alex on that. Like, I do appreciate that, this teachers union is striking for what they believe in and trying to get better situations for these kids that go to school. However, it's so unfortunate that these kids who play football and even other sports that got canceled, like
cross-country,
golf, cross-country
postseason canceled.
Men's soccer, all those have been canceled. So, like, that's totally out the window now, which is super unfortunate. And these kids are kind of caught in this crossfire of a political battle between the union and CPS. And while I hope that, the teachers, get the best thing that they can for themselves and for the students, it's just super unfortunate to watch these kids, have to miss out on an opportunity to play some of their last football.
You kind of wish, or you hope that this is resolved because once again we had this a couple years ago. I was a freshman in high school. It happens every couple years, and it's unfortunate that we can't come to an agreement where both sides are happy and we don't have to go through this every couple years.
Something that's been cool to see come out of this strike is the student athletes coming together. I mean, there's been pictures of kids from Simeon and rival schools all standing together, showing their support for a resolution coming to a resolution, I should say. And I think that what you guys talk about is very similar to like what a lot of the kids are thinking is that they support the teacher's decision and they support what they're fighting for because they also believe that these are issues that need to be resolved. And as you said, something that needs to be resolved in a more full manner than something that's just going to keep coming up every 5 or 6 years or however long it's been. It's also been cool. Something that I'm reading right now is that the CPS runners are organizing a city-state meet on November 7th, which is sort of just going to be an IHSA affiliated meet that they're trying to get over 1,000 of the CPS runners to come to and just give them a chance to compete one more time, which is really cool. So it's cool to see the group support. One of the teachers and saying that we're not mad at you guys, we just wish a resolution. We were hoping for that sort of middle ground to be met, but also for the students to say even if we're not able to do it, I mean, the runners, the soccer players, the rest of the fall athletes that are missing out on their postseasons, for them to say, let's organize something so that we can all get out and do it one more time. That's going to do it for our show today. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for sticking with us with this odd, format of us doing it. Thank you to Urbana Public Television for letting us do it in the studio and being so accommodating. We will keep you, in the loop and let you know when the studio is done. Follow me on, not to plug me or whatever, but follow me on Twitter because I'm the one usually letting you know sort of the way that the show is being put out and how to figure it out. And once the studio is back and up and running, we'll be live back on 107.1 and we can't wait to be there. But on behalf of Jake, Brendyn, Alex, and myself, thank you for listening to Illini Drive.